I want you to tell us more about yourself. Like, how did you grow up? I mean, did you grow up in a really healthy household? Did you grow up in a family that it was like, everything was all natural, everybody's taking care of themselves? So give us a little bit of your background.
Sure. I grew up in the last town on Lake Michigan before you get to Wisconsin.
Oh.
And it was small town, very small town living. And my dad worked a lot. So I didn't have a very good work-life balance model. He was like, work. So I had that. And then my mom was a nurse, and she was constantly dragging me in and out of every natural food store because she dabbled in it.
Okay.
And she was the one who was like, nope, we're not having Doritos. We're not having Oreos in the house. And so I was the kid you didn't want to trade lunches with, because I had what you call twigs and sticks, which are those little sesame stick things.
Yes.
That was kind of like my mom's like, okay, you can have that junk food. And then I had some random Fig Newtons here and there.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So that's kind of how I grew up. My mom dabbled. We weren't completely strict, but she tried. She did the best she could in that department.
Awesome. And I remember those I know exactly what you mean by those little sesame sticks. No, I love them, but I was that weird kid that would look at plants and be like, I wonder if I can eat that. I think it was innately meant to be like some form of herbalist or something like that. But I know exactly what you're talking about. Now, so you talk a lot about, and you educate a lot about our ability to slow the aging process naturally. So we all want to know, how is that possible? With everything that's going on, with everything that's going on, because I think both of us can say we've sat across some people that, and legitimately, 3 kids, 2 dogs, half a cat, working, both parents working, and it's just go, looking after everybody and everything to make it all manage. Yeah. That ages us. Just the worry and the stress ages us, let alone the years. It's just the stress. So how is it possible that we can do something about it naturally without Botox and drugs? That's what we want to know.
Yes. So step 1 really is looking at how overwhelmed are you, and what, COVID's been really great for that for a lot of people, because now we don't have a lot of take the kids here, take the kids there. And we don't also have a lot of these social meetings that maybe we didn't necessarily want to go to. Right. But what we do have is the slowing down process, because you can slow down aging by slowing yourself down a little bit. And a lot of people are like, no, there's no way I can slow down. I have this. Okay, let's prioritize, here. And really, what is the end game? Like, how do you want your life to turn out? And I really will, a lot of people talk about reverse engineering, but I do have people look at it and go, all right, what's the end game? Where are you headed? What do you want when you grow up? Per se, or you retire, or what kind of life do you want? And now we got to look back and go, okay, let's work towards that. But to get towards that, because I think a lot of people need visual. Because if I'm going to tell folks, okay, we're going to take 5 minutes a day. We're going to start with 5 minutes a day. We're going to break it up like 2.5 minutes. And we're just going to sit and do nothing. Or we're going to hula hoop, we're going to kick a soccer ball. We're going to do something to get us a little bit in what I call it's parasympathetic mode. And I call it, it's nothing earth shattering. But parasympathetic mode, folks, is your chill mode. And that's what we need to get into more, that we're not doing. So being stuck wide open in fight or flight, which is sympathetic mode, is what is causing us to age, because we're constantly go, do. Our body forgets how to reduce inflammation. Aging is an advanced inflammation. That's where the wrinkles come. That's where digestive issues, that's where joint issues come from. Now, when we look at the spectrum of things, my biggest education to folks is like, okay, step 1, 2 spots during the day where you can just take a break. And that seems to be very hard. So that's why I said the 2.5 minutes, 30 seconds. Sometimes we got to just start with something very simple. But the idea is just take a break. Do nothing. Even if you close your eyes for 2 minutes. And for a lot of people, they're going to be like, well, I'm going to make lists. Okay, fine. At least you're just closing the eyes and you're stopping for that moment. So what you're doing, more parasympathetic mode. Now from that, we build on it and we make sure that our circadian rhythms are in check. So this is your wake up and bedtime. A lot of people are talking about how important sleep is. Yes, super important. But if you can't get to that, now we got a problem.
Exactly.
So this is like pre-sleep stuff. Working on having a routine where you wake up with the sunlight. You're waking yourself up. Maybe you get a happy light. I live in Washington State where it's a little dark. So I do have happy lights that go on, waking me up, helping that pineal gland to just, hello, it's time to wake up. And then getting into the evening and getting yourself chill. You need a wind down routine.
Yeah.
And it does not mean wine down.
Right. It's
alcohol,
a whole different,
alcohol here and there. I'm not going to hate on alcohol, but I am going to say that routinely it does not help with your sleep. You may think that you're calming down. What you're doing is that alcohol is your vehicle to help you calm down. You're using it more or less. This is your trick. You want to relax. You want to wind down, but you're using the alcohol for it. So we got to come up with something else. Herbal tea. Maybe we're coming up with like a yoga mobility routine. Maybe it's a walk. But the idea is we got to do a hard stop on work and wind down. And with COVID, it's been hard for folks because work has now become their home.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to differentiate those.
Very hard to differentiate. And I love that you brought up sleep because I just have been filming a whole bunch of YouTube videos talking about sleep. And the one thing I'm talking about in one of them is like, you need a pre-bedtime routine, folks. Mm-hmm. And if you can, start it an hour before. It doesn't mean you need to have the shower or have a bath and get into your pajama, but you have to, at least an hour before, start bringing yourself down. Mm-hmm. And the things that you say, like you got to get into that chill mode so that not only that you can fall asleep, but that you can stay asleep. Some people are 7 hours. I know a few people that are 5. They're 5 is their sweet spot. Any more than 5 hours, they're useless, and others, kind of like everyone has their sweet spot with the sleep need. And I love what you said about alcohol, because yes, a lot of times when I'll hear, and it tends to be a little bit more women with I like to have a glass of wine in the evening. Right. And it may help you fall asleep, but it's probably not doing much to keep you asleep. Especially because one glass isn't like the bottle doesn't constitute glass.
I know. I understand that they need to open up the flavor and stuff, but like wine glasses are huge. And a lot of people will be like, yeah, I had a glass of wine. I'm like, show me how many fingers. How many fingers of liquid? And they're like, I'm like, okay. Yeah. So we had the bottle or half the bottle in a glass.
Right. We can't avoid getting older. I always say getting older does not mean getting old.
Right.
How we go into older age, really, there's some things that are just going to happen. Like, our eyes tend to get a little weaker. And we're dealing with genetics, like we all have a genetic blueprint, but there's so many things we can work with all of that and go into it with, not just grace, but really still very good, sustainable health or not. And sometimes, and I might take some flack for this, but I think sometimes there can be a mindset of like, well, I'm just getting older. It's just what happens. Well, maybe not all of it. Maybe not quite that intensely. I don't.
And when I have people say that to me all the time, like, well, doc, I'm just getting older. That's part of getting older. What was there I can do? There's a lot you can do about it.
Right.
There's a lot you can set yourself up for aging so much better. Even those of you who might be listening to this, that might be in your 30s. Like this is the prime time to start dialing things in. You're getting in your 40s, you're headed towards your 50s, you're beyond in your 50s. That's okay. There are things you can do to preserve your health. And another thing is looking for anti-aging is your digestive system. Do not beat up your digestive system.
Right. So we talked about, so when I asked you some of the things we can do, so we talked about getting into that the chill, we'll call it the chill mode, getting into the chill mode, which is something that we can all do. I mean, that to me is, it is a choice. And I can understand, like, if I'm sitting across from some big CEO and what do you mean just chill? I can't just chill. Well, okay. It might be a challenge for you, but you're capable of doing it. But first you have to decide that you're going to work at getting into that. And it might take you a little while, but it's a choice. So we talked about getting into that chill mode. We also talked about journaling so we can take that data. What else can we do?
So looking at your digestive system as a big thing. Because as we get older, I see a lot of people telling me, hey, doc, I'm becoming more and more sensitive to certain foods. I'm getting rashes. I have no idea why. A lot of times those rashes tend to go around the eyes and the ears for us ladies and around the mouth. And it can be very disturbing that we've got that going on. And ultimately, it's going, okay, what have we done to our digestive system to beat it up?
Yeah.
It's most people know junk food, all that. We've got processed things there. The other big thing that we don't tend to think about as much is genetically modified foods, because it kind of comes in vogue and it kind of goes out of vogue.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the truth is if things are genetically modified, it's going to affect you differently. And the best way I can describe it is a lot of people will have gone to Europe and they'll be like, I ate so much pasta and I ate so much wheat and pastries and baguettes and I felt great. And I came back to the US and I felt terrible when I tried to repeat the same thing. It's because, no GMOs over there. So what we're looking at is trying to eat as clean as possible. Am I perfect? Heck no. It's darn near impossible if you're going to, if you don't have your own farm and you can't grow your own food, right? So I get it, but trying that. Then the next thing is really looking at portions. How often do you overstuff yourself? That's one thing.
Yeah.
And how often are you eating raw, cold foods? This is a Chinese medicine thing, but I found it to be really, really valuable because as we get older, a lot of folks will tend to have issues with the digestive system, either slowing down and being more constipated or having more diarrhea and softer stools and being like, what is going on? Well, here's the thing. If you're eating salads day in, day out, and it's the middle of January and you don't live somewhere that's tropical, your digestive system has to warm that up. Same thing goes with the smoothie fad. I love smoothies, but it's December, you live in Minnesota or you live in Canada, right?
Yeah.
And it's cold and you're going to what happens when you put ice on your skin? It numbs it. What do you think that smoothie's doing? And so it's going to mess with your digestive system. So you're like, gosh, I feel a lot more bloated, and then you're like, I'm getting rashes. Oh my gosh, I don't think I can digest dairy anymore. What's happened is we've had a continuum of beating up the digestive system. So back to chill for a moment, a lot of times I will have people sit there for like a minute, count to 60 before you start eating. Why? Because you're not like on the fly, shovel food in. And you're like, okay. And that being said, you're chilling, right? You're not eating. You're not like on the fly eating at your kitchen counter over the sink. You're not driving and eating. You're really putting yourself in back to this parasympathetic chill mode. It's rest, digest, chill. And you're taking the time to do these things. And with the food, you're chewing your food. The average person chews about 7 times and swallows.
Yeah, swallows it,
What do you think that does to your gut? It's going to work harder. And your digestive system is one of those things that you want working on point because that's where you get your vitamins, your nutrients, your minerals. Yes, you can argue with me that we all need supplements. Yes, that's a whole nother conversation. But to get something out of your food and not stress out your gut is your brain. That's number one. So if you're stressing it out by overloading it, of course, you're not going to be able to think. Of course, you feel foggy. Anyone who wants to know how that works, fast for a day and see how clear your brain is.
Yeah.
There's your sign.
Yeah. There's a huge brain gut connection.